Outdoors Delmarva covers everything outdoors,
including real hunting and fishing situations involving wildlife.
We do our best each and every week to keep it tasteful, but discretion is advised.
Now, enjoy the show.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
This week on the show, we're heading out in search of one of the most coveted fish in the Delaware Bay this time of year, the black drum. So, what does it take to hook up with this elusive fish? We're hooking up bait and packing plenty of patience. Then, it's the ultimate test of endurance for any athlete, but we'll be following one amazing group through this triple challenge. And from the boat to the kitchen, we're working up a rockfish recipe as impressive as these monsters themselves.
Right now on Outdoors Delmarva.
Look how big that crab is.
Something I've never done before. You know, I've seen a lot of them before, but just never could close the deal.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. And now, here are Mike Parker and Captain Willie Dykes.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Captain Willie Dykes.
And I'm Mike Parker. Well, Willie, we got you back out here on the saltwater again this week. This time in search of one of the most coveted fish species on the Delaware Bay this time of year, and we're talking about black drum.
That's right, Mike. I'm a little worried, but it's flat calm out here. The wind has died down to almost nothing, and we can hear the drum right underneath the boat. So I think we're going to have some luck.
Yeah, these big fish are in these waters right now for spawning purposes, and well, that's why we're out here for catching purposes. Not only do they put up a good fight, but boy, there's some good eating fish too. So we're here with Captain Brian and the crew from Delaware Family Fishing, left out of Lewis Harbor not too long ago. Got the bait in the water, and all we can do now is see what happens. When it comes to black drum fishing, you'll want to pack along plenty of patience. And aboard the Lil Angler 2, our crew of anglers is just settling in as Captain Brian Wozlovec tries steering us into known black drum territory.
We'll be probably fishing 12 to 15 foot of water. We'll be using fresh surf clams on a fish finder rig with an 8-aught Gamakatsu circle hook. And put them on the bottom, keep them nice and still, and hopefully we'll get a couple boomers.
Arriving at the coral beds off Slaughter Beach, mate Jonathan begins the sloppy job of shucking clams as he and Brian will work quickly to bait up 8 rods and drop them to the bottom of the bay.
Try to keep all the guts on the clam.
Straight up and down bottom fishing. We'll send the wax and cast them out just a little bit to get a little bit of spread on them, but straight bottom fishing.
Now take a look at this. These pictures are from one of Brian's recent trips, where the crew boated 6 of these beautiful beasts and released another drum. A drum measuring 122 centimeters, or just over 48 inches. It's a fish so large, it would have tied a world record. Although this honest captain admits this catch was disqualified early on. When in the heat of the moment, and never even suspecting such a large fish was on the other end, more than one angler handled the rod during this lengthy fight. Still, this picture, nothing short of inspiring.
What are they feeding on in this area here?
Crabs and clams, crustaceans, shellfish.
You can tell I'm not a big saltwater hand, so I'm going to be pumping you for information this whole trip here.
We'll change it. We'll change it. We'll get the salt water in your veins. Fish on.
And soon the action on the lines is picking up. But as our rods bend one after another, it turns out to be a common side effect of sinking a large clam to the bay's bottom. Dogfish or sand sharks are renowned bait stealers, and not nearly as fun to reel in as drum. Although as the dogs keep us busy, we're still optimistic because of something we can hear.
Now, one thing that's really cool about black drum fishing is you can hear these fish in the water underneath the boat. Come here, I want to show you something. Down here where it's a little bit quieter, you can actually hear those drum making that sound. I'm gonna make things real quiet right now and see if you can actually hear that sound.
As soon as we get this fish in the boat, let's get the rest of these rods in the water.
Finally, after 4 hours of waiting, listening, and hoping,
The Lil Angler 2 is hooked up,
Sometimes you just gotta wait them out.
and John is first in line. In the fight of his life, he still seems pretty cool under pressure.
I feel good. I mean, he's got a nice little head shake to him. He got some shoulders. He's a bit light. I mean, honest to God, I thought it was Uncle Shark. He came up to the surface after a hook and took.
You gonna be able to reel him in, or we gonna need a harpoon?
Yep.
He's gonna go right at about 50.
As advertised.
As advertised.
Pull it through.
That's a huge fish.
95.
That roller is an IGFA roller, International Game Fish Association. The roller is in centimeters because it's used all over the world. And I'm IGFA captain. I'm the only IGFA captain in the state of Delaware. Currently, the IGFA is developing an application for smartphones that if you aren't sure what type of fish you caught, you take a photograph of the fish and the app will identify the fish for you. In order for them to do that, they need to get photographs of the fish before they can write the logarithm. And so far I've sent in probably 15 photographs of drum, and as long as drum season's going, I'll continue to send them in.
That was John's first drum ever, so that was good for him. Nice to see a nice drum caught.
Very difficult sometimes fish, but fun to catch when they do bite.
And as a steady rain moves into the area, a few more dogfish will keep us on our toes. But this night belongs to the lone black drum and the captain and crew of the Lil Angler 2.
Get outdoors, Delmarva.
Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, it's the ultimate test of endurance for any athlete. But we'll be following one amazing group through this triple challenge. But first, did you know? Black drum have been known to live up to 50 years or longer. When we come back, we'll show you one method used for determining a fish's age.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru, higher standards. Sponsored by Ocean City Tourism, Shorts Marine, Shooter's Choice, and Goody's Marine. Outdoors Delmarva will be right back.
And make things real quiet right now and see if you can actually hear that ooh sound. How'd that go?
Did you know? In various species of fish, including drum and this trout, determining age can be done by removing its ear bones, known as otoliths.
Similar to a tree, a fish will put on a ring every year of its life. And so when you take a thin section, you look at the cross section of that otolith, you can count up the rings just like a tree and tell how old that fish was.
Did You Know is sponsored by North Bay Marina.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Captain Willie Dykes. You know, sometimes just climbing a flight of stairs can be something of a challenge, but we recently met up with a gathering of athletes who like to push themselves to the limit. And out of this group, we met 3 guys who are something more than an inspiration.
All triathletes male under 40.
This year's Nanticoke Swim Triathlon in Bivalve was once again a beehive of activity for those athletes wishing to test the limits of adversity. And among them were a couple of first-timers.
This is my first triathlon, and I'm excited.
My first triathlon, learned about it 2 weeks ago, but that's all right, you know. I was happy to have this opportunity.
As if the half-mile swim, the 15.2-mile bike ride, and the 3.1-mile run weren't obstacles enough themselves, there were 3 athletes, including the 2 first-timers, that had a bit of a hill to climb to start with.
You know, it's something I always really thought of doing from high school on, and I got injured right out of high school, and it just was something that I guess I wasn't exposed to.
I'm probably going to aim to go under 2 hours.
I suspect that I'm going to enjoy it and want to pursue it more, so I hope to learn a lot today.
The only assistance that these athletes require is an assist in and out of the water, and other than that, they're racing on their own. Given the fact that this is the first year in which para-athletes are competing, some of the volunteers themselves need a crash course in assisting.
Good. And if I hold on to your shoulder, then I know we got everybody together. Okay, I can do that.
But there's no time to think things over because a competition waits for no one, and just like that, it's on. First out of the water is Scott Cease from Rocky Ridge, Maryland, and as you can see, he's fully in go-go mode.
Let's go, 78!
Right behind Scott, however, is Daniel Romanchuk, who has traveled here from Mount Airy, Maryland, and he's making the transition to the 15.2-mile bike ride as well. So that we might be able to better follow the athletes on the road, our friends from the West Side Volunteer Fire Department were good enough to take us along in the Outdoors Delmarva chase vehicle, as we like to call it, and we're in a full scramble just to catch up.
Your other guy's really up here somewhere.
Even at 40 miles per hour, you can see it's hard just to keep up with these guys. They're using a special hand-pedaled bike for this leg of the event, and it's keeping them right in the thick of the pack. Now it's time for the final 3.2-mile run. These chairs are designed with speed in mind. Their cambered wheels make for quicker times on the road. And the only thing left is the finish line.
There's our first para-athlete, folks. Scott Cease.
Scott Cease is the first to cross.
First one, Scott, huh?
Yep.
What'd you think, man? It's brutal.
And the bike seemed longer. It seemed like the bike would never end either. Once it's done, you'll be happy.
Next comes Daniel Romanchuk, finishing well under his 2-hour goal.
Congratulations, Daniel.
And right behind comes David Swope.
Good job. Good job.
Michelle Hoisted.
That was torture. Complete torture. Not only the first leg, but the second leg and the third leg. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. A lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Get outdoors, Delmarva.
Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, we're wrapping up the early spring rockfish season with a nice catch and a nice recipe that will have both the fish and you stuffed.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Mike Parker. Well, you know, over the past few weeks, we've been showing you an awful lot of spring trophy rock fishing in the state of Maryland, and boy, oh boy, we've caught a lot of big fish this year, but then again, there's some of those trips where things just don't turn out exactly the way you want to, and things definitely cooled down on the bay a few weeks ago, and we left out of Somerset County with a great group of anglers, and after hours and hours of trolling, well, it turned out we only brought back one fish to the docks. And unfortunately for a couple of guys on board, a father and son combination, Dave and Eric Standen, it was the first time ever rock fishing where they didn't bring back a limit.
I have never gone home without a limit of fish. I've never gone home, never gone home, never gone home without a limit of fish.
So joining me right now is one of the guys aboard that boat, and Dave Standen, how are you?
Good, Mike, how are you?
Good, good. Well, we're gonna cook up that fish here in a couple of minutes, but first, I mean, man, to have a streak that long, how long have you been fishing not to come home with your limit for the first time ever?
To be honest with you, I really don't remember. It's been a long, long time.
A couple of decades?
at least.
And Eric Standing, you're the son here in this mix, so you're quite familiar with the streak.
Oh yeah, it's been a long time, and it's just one of those things where we had a recipe for disaster, but luckily we took the right guy that knows how to cook the fish and catch the fish, Chef Mike, for break time.
Yeah, well, let's meet Chef Mike, and like you said, you know, sometimes we have a recipe for success out in the water. Other times, Chef Mike, all we've got is a recipe for rockfish. So tell us, what are we going to be cooking here today?
Well, we're going to do something that's really simple, quick, easy, and really tasty. It's a crab imperial stuffed rockfish.
All right. Now, Mike, you caught that fish. We've got you on camera, so you can't deny it.
I did.
So look at these fillets.
This is the actual fish that we caught. Step one is we're just going to butterfly them out. So we got someplace to put our stuffing, which we're just going to make a slight cut down the center, about halfway through.
And we like to do stuff that everyone out there watching who's actually caught some fish just like you did can take home and kind of put a gourmet twist on some good Eastern Shore cuisine.
Absolutely. Oh, we're just going to go ahead and make our imperial. I'm going to take about a cup of mayonnaise, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, a little Old Bay. Can't be on the Eastern Shore without Old Bay. A little white pepper, dry mustard. I like to give it a little kick, so I add a little Tabasco or hot sauce. Crab is very delicate, very light, very tender. So you always want to mix up your sauce first. Just gently break that crab meat up, gently fold your sauce into your crab. And that way, when you stuff your fish, which we're going to do next, you got big chunks of crab. I like to roast it, if you've got a convection oven, for about 15-20 minutes, and it's that quick, that simple.
This 15 minutes can't go fast enough.
Well, we're really fortunate that Shore Appliance let us use their kitchen today, because they just have some really killer equipment.
Let's go back to that day, out on the Kingfish 2. Line hooks up. What's it like bringing in a big fish like that?
You know what, your adrenaline just gets pumping, and somebody asked me if we pulled it in, what are you going to do with it?
We're gonna eat them. Just some crab stuffed rockfish.
Because that was the only thing I could think of. The rockfish is done, so we're getting ready to pull it out, plate it up.
Get outdoors, Delmarva.
And here it comes, Rockfish Imperial. All right, Chef Mike Smith, thank you so much. You work at break time. Is this something we can get on the menu there? If we
Absolutely,
stop in?
absolutely. We only serve fresh fish,
Okay.
so it's only available when we have the fresh rockfish. But from the lake to the plate, man, it's killer.
Amazing.
And if you'd like to get the recipe, again, just make sure to check this segment out on outdoorsdelmarva.com and on Facebook, and we'll see you then. That is good.
Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, it's a swinging destination that keeps wildlife in mind. And later, you won't want to miss this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic.
Scorchy's Corner Classics are sponsored by Hook 'em and Cook 'em Outfitters.
This is Indian River Inlet, one of the many jewels along the Delaware seashore.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Mike Parker, here to tell you about a great local destination this week. You know, we always talk about Ocean City in terms of fishing and heading to the beach, but this week, well, we're talking about Ocean City as a golf destination. And joining me right now is golf professional Bob Kroll from Eagles Landing Golf Course. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing great, Mike.
Bob, let's talk about this place in terms of what makes it special.
Oh, what makes this golf course special is not only it's a great golf course for the golfers to enjoy in great condition, it's the natural surroundings. We have beautiful surroundings where you can see the Sinnapuxent Bay, Assateague Island, multiple marshlands, and not to mention just a tremendous amount of wildlife.
So people come to golf courses for a challenge, to see something new, and if you're out here, well, you are going to see some natural beauty and possibly some great wildlife.
Yeah, without a doubt. We are an Audubon sanctuary, actually the first one in the state of Maryland. One of the things we always say is the natural beauty of the land and the wildlife tend to let your mind wander from the game.
Joe Perry is the course superintendent here at Eagles Landing. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, Mike.
Thanks for coming out.
No problem. I am taking a look around here, and I got to tell you, if this is your office, well, you must have one of the best jobs on the Eastern Shore.
Yeah, I think I do, Mike. I'm real lucky. It's a beautiful golf course, beautiful piece of property, and I think I've seen just about all the golf course has to offer. We've identified over 110 different bird species, plus all the native animals of the Eastern Shore.
Well, the nature and the wildlife is definitely going to be a big draw for someone like me to get out here and check it out. But can Eagles Landing accommodate, let's say, a beginning golfer as well as challenge someone who's been doing it a while?
Oh, absolutely. Mike, we have tees set up at a shorter distance for the golfers who, haven't quite played as much and don't hit the ball quite as long. But we have tees at a place where even the best golfers are going to find this course a tremendous challenge.
All right, Bob Kroll, golf professional here at Eagles Landing. Thank you so much for having us out.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, if you enjoy the game of golf and you appreciate the beauty of nature and wildlife that surrounds you, well, Eagles Landing Golf Course is going to be that perfect fit. Eagles Landing, upholding the tradition of the game. And we'll be right back.
Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, your latest viewer videos and pictures.
Outdoors Delmarva viewer pictures are sponsored by Shorts Marine. This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru, Higher Standards. Sponsored by Ocean City Tourism, Shorts Marine, Shooter's Choice, and Goody's Marine. And now it's time to check in with an old friend. Here's this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic.
Mention Indian River Inlet, and the first thing that comes to mind is fishing. And I guess really, when you get right down to it, fishing is what the inlet is most utilized for.
I fish here quite a bit, probably 3 or 4 times a week. I think it's a fantastic place.
Scott Balt spends his summers working at Old Inlet Bait and Tackle when he's not fishing the inlet. He willingly shares his catching secrets.
Mostly cast this bucktail right here, and usually use like a twister off of it, and just fish the tide like a 45-degree angle, just sort of cast out, let it drift down, and give a little bit of action.
Rare is a species of fish that hasn't at one time or another poked his nose close to the stone pile. And if you're there when this happens, with any luck, you'll be able to tell fascinating fish stories for many years to come. Scorchy Toes wandering our Delmarvelous land for WBOC News.
It's time now to take a look at the videos and pictures sent in by our own Outdoors Delmarva viewer.
Nikki Rice from Lincoln sent in this shot of a nearly 9-pound tautog. Beautiful fish. She was fishing aboard the Ocean City Girl with Captain Jeff Stewart. Our friend Alan Sklar sent in this action shot of fellow surf angler Bill Powell of Ocean City releasing a 40-inch striper he caught on the shores of Assateague last week. And Adeline Welsh from Millsboro had a great trip recently. She hooked up with a nice striper out on Delaware Bay.
For Captain Willie Dykes, I'm Mike Parker reminding you to get outdoors, Delmarva.